Oh, that connected fast. Okay, we're here.
Warming up for the episode. Part of me feels like we should have prepared all our dinosaur games and laid it out around us.
They're all from one franchise. Wait, I'll just steady the fan. Okay.
One lang ba? Oh, because we didn't get Tiny Epic.
Yeah, we don't have Tiny Epic Dinosaurs yet. And then we just have Dinosaur Island Totally Liquid, Dualisaur Island, Dinosaur
Mm-mm.
World, Dinosaur Island Roaring Right. And then at most, Unfair has a dinosaur
Yeah.
theme, but it is not still a dedicated dinosaur board
And then
game.
we don't own Stone Age.
We still don't own a
Oh,
physical.
Paleo. Might.
No,
It
paleo
won't.
kasi
It
it's
won't.
it's it's
Yeah.
all it's after it has humans, it's after
Unless
dinosaurs.
it's a surprise that they suddenly reveal there's a surviving whatever.
Then
Which
it
I
could be
doubt.
even more historically inaccurate.
It's already historically inaccurate.
That's why I said even more.
Anyway, if you're watching, this is a live stream, so you might be watching this after it's been recorded. That means feel free to jump forward to the point then the show starts. If you're watching right now, it'll take a few minutes as we prepare, share the link, and we'll get ready to watch to start the show. So please wait. Yeah, okay. Feed is not showing it yet. Facebook is. Hola. Okay, Facebook. Resharing it. Ah, what happened? I closed my browser.
No, minimize. You're alive, you're alive.
Okay, share, share Twitter successful. Okay, I
Getting
see
the
the notification for Facebook. I'll share that first before I add it. Andre is saying the chat's not appearing on his side of the world. So strange for this to just appear now
hmm?
in terms of approval of tag. Because it's May 29.
Mm.
Odd. It's not the same as how Ood.
How would that be if it were how ood?
I'll need a ball and tentacles.
I feel like you made the same gesture, just reversed. It's like ball and the tentacles.
And it'll be a telepathic ball. That's how Ood it would be.
Yep. I'm just also checking if YouTube settings are okay on the back end.
Okay. Oh wow, community standards is like up front and center in the feed.
On
If you are currently on the feed, we actually can't see it until you send in some comments.
oh no, I hit inspect.
If you can't chat, oddly, I can't see the chat either. Look, is it a new rule where you have to click community standards first? No, I still don't see it.
Okay, wait. Let me mute my computer first, and then take a look.
Did we kill the chat?
But there's nothing I changed.
See, it just says community standard, and then there's no chat window.
Facebook is strange.
YouTube still has it though. So yeah. Okay, there. Maya is able to send in Facebook.
A wave.
I'm not sure what's going on. Oh wow, okay. There is a window. It's just super tiny.
Oh, it's like it's a weird. minimalist
Yeah, so
view.
that if you click where the emoji is, that same spot, you can try clicking it and you can type. So it's very ood.
Okay. Great UI decisions, Facebook. I'm
It's
sorry.
like you can type
Meta.
after, you can put in an emoji and then afterwards you can type. So if I put this there, then I can type. Until you put in one of those emojis, it will be hard to click on the window for some reason. I don't know why. I think that's a community standard thing because it seems to be up in front.
I think that's just a sticky there to help with live video. There are a lot of changes going on the Facebook side of the world. They're grandfathering a bunch of interest targeting for ads that they feel are too invasive and stuff. So it's just getting it's. I mean, I get it, but
Mhm.
it's there's a lot of tinkering going on under the hood.
I have salt and pepper here.
Is this a surprise?
Let's just
Oh no! Is this a revelation?
let's just much more clumped around now.
It
Okay.
just means you're due for a haircut soon.
Okay. I guess we can start.
Okay, okay. So give me a moment. Let me tidy up
It is
captions.
it's yeah, we've been starting later than usual. Sorry, it's because we've been watching Coffee Prince.
It's because K dramas are like minimum exactly 1 hour. They don't have time for commercials. Some of them are like even longer. They're like crash landing on you with like movie length episodes.
It's true.
So okay, we'll be back.
Oh yeah! Baduy Pride!
This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It's completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. It's a Thursday, which means we talk about geeky stuff and stuff we like, stuff we want to talk about. And for this episode, it's gonna be dinosaurs.
Rawr.
We're talking about the Jurassic Park franchise. Everything from the numerous movies, some of the games we've played or experienced
Oh
or heard
wow, I'll
of.
have to think about that. The theme park experiences.
Yes. And I guess you could say related things that aren't exactly Jurassic Park. For example, Dino Crisis.
Um. Okay, I guess that's a thing we can talk about. But first, we have to acknowledge the fact that this was actually a book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it
Yes.
started as a novel by Michael Crichton.
Yes.
And it was like on its own. It did not start as like a franchise of novels. So it
In terms
was
of novels, there was really just one novel at first.
yes, that was just the
Mm.
plan. And
Released
then
back in 1990, a science fiction novel that is a cautionary tale about genetic engineering.
I felt very smart reading this book because it talked about chaos theory and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. And I was in the fourth grade when I read Jurassic Park because I read it. I read it because, of course, like any other kid, I was very interested in dinosaurs. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was news of the movie, and I wanted to like make the leap to read a full length novel before
Mm-hmm.
seeing the movie. This, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, it is the very first novel I read.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, the longest things I had read were Tintin comics, um, and Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read Secret Wars as a compilation, but Jurassic World the first novel. I skipped the Hardy Boys and things like that. Okay.
I was a Hardy Boys guy.
Oh, I'm sure you were a Hardy Boy.
Hey, so going back to dinosaurs, not this dinosaur.
Rawr.
The book. So Crichton's books, a lot of them were adapted. I mean, everything from Jurassic Park to Congo to
But
so on and so
Jurassic
forth.
Park was like the one that like really became popular.
Yes.
In his defense, there were things like the Andromeda Strain, which I
Mhm.
think was first adapted into a TV movie,
Mhm.
and then before that, I forget that there was Great Train Robbery as a book, but then it was after this. Then like, hey, Michael Crichton's hot stuff, and
Mm.
then we saw Sphere, Congo, Rising Tide. I was like Rising Tide. I
And
forget
were there a few law-related ones? Or am I misremembering?
that maybe
No, that's
Grisham.
someone else.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay.
But it was around that time, like they're like
That's
big
all.
franchise, like
Find more writers.
celebrate
adapt more
author,
things.
adapt them into
Okay.
movies. Okay, okay.
So in the book, which was written back in 1983, it first started as a screenplay.
Yeah, but it was published in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
It was no, it's still largely the same story, except more people died.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
wasn't like the owner of the park? He dies in the helicopter or something. If I
no, no,
remember
no.
correctly.
He kind of, if I remember correctly, and I have to reread that. He tumbled down a hill and then kind of sprained his ankle.
Mm.
But then he's preyed on by the compies, the
The
small
small
scavenger
ones.
ones,
Mhm.
because he's kind of helpless. And then it's like this stupid like and then I remember, and what he gets surprised by a dinosaur sound that the kids accidentally triggered because they were playing around in the control room. So he made like a T-Rex sound on the PA system, and then that shocked him, and then he falls, and then he gets eaten by the compies. It was
Mhm.
just like what? So it goes a lot, but again, it really stressed the cautionary tale of things. Um, so in the end, the very few survived.
Mhm.
Like I think it was the primary group. It was the kids, um, Alan Grant and uh, Eli Sattler survived. I forget if Ian Malcolm did. Anyway,
Mhm.
things. All right. So then it became a big movie.
Yes.
So what do you remember? Because I remember, well, when the movie came out, it was really hyped up.
Mhm. I think a lot of the hype of the movie when it first came out was all about how, check it out, they're using computer generated effects to make super awesome things. But it's only later on, meaning in the last few years, we realized it wasn't all CG. They really used really good animatronics, and that's why it was so good.
Well, a
Yeah.
mix of both. But then things like the sick Triceratops on its side, that was an animatronic.
Mm. The T Rex itself, that was in that
Oof.
key scene with the two cars frozen by the broken fence.
Yes.
A lot of those shots were an animatronic, which, as the documentary stated, was soaking up the rainwater, so
Mm.
would start to act wildly on its own, becoming in itself a dangerous large thing during the shoots.
Yes.
But I remember watching a lot of those scenes thinking, wow, computers really gotten so awesome. And then wondering why the years later, why is CG so sucky? And I didn't really realize it's because they were smart enough to know when to use animatronics.
Good
When
mix of both.
even I think the eye reacting to the light was an animatronic, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
Because that moment when it peers through the window, then reacts to the flashlight, that was a choreographed animatronic.
And then like the kids weren't terrible. I mean, like as far as like kids in movies go, I know it's a trope, but the kids weren't terrible. And I'm not just saying this because someone knows Unix, okay? But which was not okay. That was we just acknowledged that was movie magic. That funny, very slow scrolling
The the
3D.
worst way to look for files
Yeah, I
on a
know. It's
computer
like
system.
it's this weird GUI that it's buildings with a grid.
And I'll fly across it slowly as I look for what I'm looking for.
But which is probably a realistic frame rate for a fully 3D model
Mhm.
thing. Because like, yeah, it's gonna take that long on like a 486 at best. Ha! Okay.
I'll just quickly jump to the logo.
Oh, okay.
So the logo was one of the most prominent designs that stood out in the early 90s. The Jurassic Park logo is so iconic that you cannot look at the T-Rex design and not think Jurassic Park,
Mm.
which is an amazing feat considering this isn't exactly a show only image,
Yeah,
right?
it's a classic dinosaur
Yeah.
silhouette.
But the designer, Chip Kidd, was the one who made the logo, and if I remember the documentaries we saw, it was one of those spur of the moment moments of genius we're in. Tried to scribble it out and all this, and it became such a prominent design there. That was the one that was used.
No, no, this is already not the. And then was this? So I got to be that kid who'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, I read Jurassic Park when it had the original cover, when it was just black and white with the T Rex on it, but
Mhm.
it did not have the now iconic font, that fat font with the line, which does evoke theme park feels.
Yeah.
I feel it's a good idea, and then kind of bony, um, but that really stands out. So that's kind of crazy. How many Jurassic Park movies have there been? I get totally lost. Okay, so Wikipedia lists that there is the main Jurassic Park trilogy,
Mhm.
and then there's the Jurassic World trilogy that
Yeah.
followed. So they're all in the same kind of family, but different. And Jurassic World is a trilogy because Jurassic World Dominion, is coming out this year, which is also
Mhm.
why we're talking about this because we saw the trailer and we'll talk about that later. Okay. Um, what do you most before we go dive into the many things? What do you most remember from the original Jurassic Park?
Lots. I
Really?
mean, it's hard to decide what's the most iconic or what's the most
Okay.
prominent thing. I mean, um, I'll always, of course, love them trying to use glass to keep the T Rex from biting them,
Oh, the Hana,
and
the
and
plexiglass
and you
thing.
see it shatter,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
in the documentaries they did mention that wasn't planned.
yeah, yeah. Which made
So
it even
so
scarier.
it added more to the scene. But I remember that was such a moment. The eye peering through the window, and you have them with a flashlight, and it reacts to being hit by the flashlight.
Mm.
Um, you never look at Jello the same way again,
Oh,
because
that was
that's
good.
such a good
That was
moment.
such a good thing. It
And
it conveyed so much
yeah,
emotion with the quivering as she held the spoon.
and then of
And it
course
was such a whiplash feeling because they were already like in this
we're
joyous
safe,
like
we're
we're
home.
safe, and then we're gonna eat all the dessert,
Hmm.
because we're kids, and then stuff happens.
Um, then there's no forgetting the first moment when they see the brontosauruses, and we have that camera moment that sweeps up to look at them, and you
Mm.
realize the way they filmed it, you are standing among them,
Yes, you're
looking
looking up
at
from
that
human
same
height. Yeah,
perspective.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And guys, I'm sorry, Netflix and all streaming services are awesome, but it's moments like that, to see it on a big
Those are
screen,
things built for cinema.
it's hard not to find it's hard to find anything that compares to that impact that you will get on streaming
And
service.
hey, for people who are watching now, what was your favorite moment from the original
Mm.
Jurassic Park? Let us know in the comments too. It'd be cool. Um, I mean, like, so I had the weird double vision feeling, which would be a curse for the rest of my life. Is that when you read the book and then you watch a movie?
And then you're trying to remember if you're remembering scenes from one or the other.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Mm.
Because and there was like, I was almost that kid who wanted to say like, but he's supposed to be dead. It's
Mhm.
like there were people who survived longer than I thought they would. But because of that, I think scenes that really popped out to me were ones um, that kind of really carried through, like sort of from the book, not exactly choreographed or
Mhm.
not exactly how I imagined it, but then it's like the from the book scene to the movie scene, then it kind of like, oh, I accept this.
Mhm.
That was that feeling. And I think the best example of that was the velociraptors in the kitchen.
Mm.
That seems terrifying, and then I could be misremembering because it's been years since I last read the book, but then like it was that.
But it was such a well choreographed scene.
It super
I mean,
was.
it's not just them sneaking around and all those, oops, I moved the stuff and it's gonna make noise. But even to the point of I try to duck in and hide, and then
Mm.
that mirror surface happens, which there's such perfect moments to excite the viewer.
And some of and many of the things though are like already the movie, like, and then it's hard now to distinguish like where the movie really
Like, did the book
brought it to
had them
life.
opening the doors, or was that just a
No,
movie
that
thing?
I remember that happened. I remember
Mhm.
that happened. And because there were scenes that did not get included, like what's this? There was the pterodactyl aviary thing.
Which they tried to bring in the later
Yeah,
movies.
yeah, and then things like that. So
So Andre shares his favorite moment was when Laura Dern saw the dinosaurs. Yes, let's mention that was the iconic moment. with the matching theme song.
Because the music roars.
That
Yeah.
that theme song
Dun, dun,
is
dun,
so
dun,
good
dun, 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 dun,
because
dun.
it's not like Star Wars, which you can confuse with Superman.
Okay, legit.
But you get what I mean.
Legit.
It nicely found a really distinct swell that you won't mistake for the others,
Hmm.
and that what makes it really good.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna add that to my list of things I should reread. I'm still rereading the rest of the original Dune books
Mhm.
until now, and then like, oh, now I want to read
Digging
Jurassic
into
Park
the
again.
poop was a moment.
And was just so nonplussed. Like, I'm being a doctor. Whoop.
But I have to admit, despite the movie coming out during, I guess you could say, the peak of my um, sexual awakening, so to speak,
Really?
in the 90s and stuff.
Okay.
Um, the Ian Malcolm scene
Shirtless moment.
didn't hit me.
He just looked dirty.
Yeah, but it wasn't a scene that when I saw in the movie, I was like, ooh.
He looked dirty, oily.
I guess I was more
I
fascinated
don't
with dinosaurs
like
at
oily.
that point in time.
Okay. And then dinosaurs have to win. Um.
Andre also shares, I remember my favorite death, the girl in the latter movies who was tossed around by the pterodactyl and both eaten by the big fish monster. That's a very recent reference.
Yeah, that's from World. No, that's from World.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm just not sure if it's World or Fallen Kingdom. I think it's Fallen Kingdom because it was the water creature's name.
No, but World because they still had the big one in the middle pen. That's when they had the pterodactyl attack. Because it was still theme park mode. Because
Right.
Fallen Kingdom is like we come back to
Right.
as the habitat. Okay.
Right.
So
right.
um oh and then now there are so many aspects of that movie that I will forever burned in like our cultural memory.
Mm.
For hence like in our reviews of Dinosaur World, Dinosaur Island the game, then I always make reference to like
The
we
tour.
spared no expense.
Mhm.
Lines like that. And then of course, um you have weird lines like hang on to your butt, which is Samuel Jackson trying to reboot the system. Nah, he didn't say the magic word. Nah. And then,
and then
of
there's the
course,
beach scene where no one cares.
oh
The
yeah,
guys
no,
like declaring their secret plans, and the other one's so nervous.
and then Andrea, I was getting to this. Clever girl. Clever girl
Clever
is like
girl.
that is forever classic. So good, so good. So yeah, so many good stuff. And then I feel like okay, and this a bit of bias, but I feel like of all the original Jurassic Park trilogy movies, stands out the best. Like it stands up to that when I
Mhm.
rewatch Jurassic Park,
Mhm.
I still feel a lot of the same
Oh yeah,
feelings.
because the
It's
second and
such a
third,
good
the
movie.
second and third meandered. I mean, you had a girl using her gymnastic skills to kick a velociraptor.
Mm.
That was unforgivable.
Yeah.
That was very hard to accept as really. And then I like though that every movie they try to add more dinosaurs.
That's
Because it's a
true.
franchise
There
where you
was
have that opportunity, so you might as well, even if it doesn't really make that much sense. That with all the trouble that happened, are we really breeding more? But I'm so happy they did that. So I'm so happy that we had more dinosaur moments to look forward to with each iteration.
mhm. Okay. Okay. So that gets us to the next movie and book, Jurassic World. And Jurassic World. Sorry, The Lost World. And The
Mhm.
Lost World is tricky because then like, oh my god, I super enjoyed the movie. I sure had my grumbles about things that didn't make sense.
Mhm.
And then we get to the novel and then Ian Malcolm's alive. And
Mhm.
he's like the protagonist of this book. When in the first book, although technically never clearly stated, it was implied he died.
Yeah.
And then in the Wikipedia article does cite that of course he was pressured by fans to write a sequel, and then although the character of Ian Malcolm was suggested to have died in the first novel, Crichton chose to bring him back. He came back because I needed him.
Mhm.
I could do without the others, but not him because he is the ironic commentator of the action,
Mhm.
which is why he brought him back.
Now, Lost World is set 4 years after the events of the first film or the first book, wherein a team is called to do a rescue mission because a group has somehow fallen into one of the other islands where the dinosaurs are.
And was World was the one that introduced what's this Site B. So
Yeah.
which was a great which a great concept because
Mhm.
if you have a dinosaur theme park, naturally you're not gonna succeed every time.
Mhm.
So they had another island that was just for breeding dinosaurs, and then the hardiest ones are what's transported to the park. Which again, it makes sense. It makes sense if for anyone who's ever run a zoo in a video game, you know that your animals have to come from somewhere. Okay. Andre's asking, what was your favorite dinosaur of the franchise? Do you have a favorite dinosaur of the franchise?
Not necessarily. I wasn't really like that's a dinosaur I always want to see because I guess I do enjoy the Jurassic Park films as a horror movie,
Okay.
as a survive the dinosaurs moment, which is why I found it hard to quickly adapt to the they're making the T Rex the hero now. That
Okay.
was a hard thing for me to adapt to,
In
but
world,
thankfully, um, what's his name was cute enough to make it a transition I could accept.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, but he kind of has, I have personal issues with him.
Yeah, he's gotten
So
his public statements have gotten weird.
yeah,
Okay.
but he helped make that mindset of, okay, so it's not anymore survive the dinosaurs, but oh look, the dinosaurs are heroes too. Because I liked how in the earlier movies it would be by chance, right?
Mm,
The Velociraptors ended up fighting the T Rex and buying the guy's time, and that wasn't planned. That wasn't. It's just nature being nature.
yes.
But then now they're trained, and then now there's communication, and as much as it's an awesome scene, there was a really so no specific favorites. Um, Very happy to have the gross out moments with the Brontosaurus that spat out mucus on the girl.
Mm,
Um, and then um, I like the Velociraptors in that they had personality in how they deal with their
that
kills.
is true. And then I think I love. Remember, whenever I think about cool Velociraptor moments, it's always the tapping the claw on the floor,
Yes, yes, the tapping is so good.
and then the I'm about to attack the T Rex, and then I extend my arms and my
And
claws out
charge
and
forward.
charge. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and I love how that really captures that bird like movement of
Mm-mm,
the
mm-mm.
charge.
Even
Well,
though now the like those Velociraptors are not like accurate depictions based on
yes.
what we've learned. Although the world trailer seems to have finally given us a feathered Velociraptor.
Yes, yes, which makes me wonder if they're going to reveal that as they've been breeding on their own and one of them has grown feathers,
Mm,
or if it's a oh look they found a batch that has feathers,
yeah.
just so that they'll play both camps and
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
say they all have feathers. That's what I think.
Okay.
What else? What? How
So
about you?
yeah, so we're
Dinosaur?
going about
Because
sorry.
I know Flip would like always say Triceratops. That's his thing.
It terrifies me still, but I think the Dilophosaurus like did really well. It's like, and I don't know how like scientifically accurate the depiction is, but the Gila monster style of like it was so good because um and
The
because
drag race
the
dinosaur.
beginning because the beginnings did kind of have that weird horror movie build up.
Mm.
I mean, sure, our first dinosaur on screen is the Brontosaurus brachiosaurus like we see,
Mm-hmm.
and then the sick Triceratops. But then it's this long lull of like we don't see any of the carnivores.
We just hear the sounds.
We just hear this, and then it was the tour, and then no animals show up during
Mm.
the initial part of the tour. The T Rex scene happens on their way back when they're
Mhm.
recalled because
Yeah.
of the bad weather, and um, and then that's the only time you see it. And it was like the T Rex, and then on the other end, it was the Dilophosaurus appearing in the freaking jeep.
And I love how they all had a nice build up.
Yes,
So for T Rex, what is the build up? We had the ripples in water.
the goat
We had
disappearing,
the goat disappearing, and then
the claw pulling on the
yes,
non-electrified fence.
and then finally the reveal.
Yes.
For the Velociraptors, we had the tapping sounds. We'd have the um, it allows you to see one because it's setting the others into position.
Which was so, it's like, were you paying attention to the
Mhm.
beginning of the movie when Alan Grant decided to put that kid in his place because he's a bully?
And I love that fan made canon fan head
Headcanon.
headcanon wherein that
That's
kid
Chris Pratt.
is now Chris Pratt.
I could
'Cause
believe
that makes
it.
so much sense.
I could believe it.
And then for the Lophosaurus, sorry, did I say the name
Yeah,
right?
the Lophosaurus.
So we first see it looking at you,
And then I made this
and it
cute
has that
bird
funny
sound.
sound. And then you look away, then it's closer, and it's like something's wrong here. And then when it has that frill, oh my gosh, that's so good. And then they don't do the killing blow yet because he runs off, he trips in the rain, and
Because he has to
then
drop the barbecue can.
yes, and then finally he gets back to his vehicle, and that's when we have the closure. But that was so good.
Okay. So the Lost World though, I was oddly excited about the equipment. So it
Mm.
wasn't full aliens, but it kind of felt that way because they had that massive trailer thing.
Yeah,
And then there was a lot of talk in the book about the high hide. Like they had this tent structure where they
Yes.
could observe the dinosaurs a bit more
because
safely.
supposedly in the first movie they were safe when they went up the tree.
Yeah.
So now that's the universal idea of safety, which I
Didn't
still
last
find it
long.
weird.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, and the movie depiction of these things was like, okay, wow, they built the, which in my head was the battle van, and
Mhm.
then it was like, yeah, so they're better prepared, but just like aliens, because that it's that logic. In the first Alien movie, it's a bunch of unprepared people dealing with a bigger threat.
Mhm.
Same thing with Jurassic Park, and then in Jurassic, the Lost World, you have them a bit more prepared this time, but nope, not enough. Nobody's prepared for dinosaurs.
Now, Lost was the one that had the interlocking vehicles that go off the cliff, right?
Yeah, that one. That was like the
And-
battle van.
And that was an awesome scene.
Yes,
That was a very well orchestrated scene, especially with the spider webbing of the glass and them trying to map out
Yeah.
how they'll do this and that.
And then when it falls away and they're
And they're
clinging
holding
to the
on.
rope and like,
But-
oh
but
my
even before
gosh.
that-
Oh, you should get your shark.
Even before that, to have multiple T-Rexes looking
Mm,
at you.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, that was such a good moment.
But yes, it ended up giving us, Ian Malcolm and his adopted daughter, gymnast extraordinaire, because like all part of that movie. And then that weird like hunters are evil, and like the hunter in the first movie was kind of bad, but he got his just desserts quickly. But then this one was like even more evil hunters, and things like that. The San Francisco thing just went nuts, and then like that was not the greatest ending for that movie. I mean, they were going for sort of a King Kong kind of homage, but
mhm. And didn't
That's
it
strange.
have a?
or am I mixing? I could be mixing. No, that was
No, that was the second movie, not the third. Because that's also where we had the cameo of what's his name, who eventually becomes popular in Heroes, right?
more. I need more clues. What are you talking
The
about?
Japanese guy, wasn't he there in that scene?
Ah.
Wasn't he one of those running in the crowd? If I remember, or was
Oh.
that just a spoof?
I'm not sure.
I sort of remember that was supposedly one of him running, and then I think they were saying Gojira or something.
That may have been a spoof. I could be wrong.
Okay. So let's talk about the third movie. Jurassic Park 3 was released 2001. It's the third installment. It stars Sam Neill, Taya Leone, and a bunch of other people. This was the first film that was not directed by Steven Spielberg, who served as the executive producer. In many ways, I felt this film was look at all the scenes we cut out from the original movie. Let's see if we can squeeze them in here now.
I mean, like there was the benefit of like, okay, we're bringing back Alan Grant,
Mhm.
but then we also this is the one where he,
The parasailing incident at the start.
yeah, and then this is the one where he had the stupid nightmare, and then the Velociraptor,
Yeah.
and then like Alan,
Yes.
do not make your Velociraptors talk. That does not make sense. Yeah, and then it was like another
It had the creation of the larynx through 3D printing, which supposedly later becomes a key item in surviving the horror of the Velociraptors.
Mm.
Yeah. We have here more mercenaries, so there's a lot of world building. We had the idea that there's now the attempts to militarize the dinosaurs and stuff. So you could definitely see the influence of this to the next franchise.
Yeah, but man, this movie is like I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And then there was like no clear book equivalent, I think,
Mm-hmm.
except for a novelization. And then um yeah, so it's like because it was it. It was the Lost World, and then that was it. As in terms of the novel side, so we really just went off the deep end, and then other authors started to take over the franchise because someone had to. So
So this one, which had the aviary scene, I really wanted to like it,
I wanted to be very excited for it.
but I was more frustrated than liking it. And then I could not wrap my head around the best way to survive the scene was to use the paragliding thing,
Mm,
because I
mm.
was like, these dinosaurs fly, and your best way to escape them
Is to
is
fly
to
with them,
fly.
Alan,
That's like saying let's fight draws by diving into the water. That doesn't make sense.
with blood,
So
Alan.
yeah,
So
it was nice seeing Samuel back.
it was. So the franchise goes quiet for a while. In that time, okay, then you have things like Universal Studios fully embraced Jurassic. Well, they did that as early as the first movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had these different Jurassic Park themed attractions,
Mm-hmm.
of which we've at least experienced the Singapore one, right? Did we get to do that together, or that was just me? Because I know some of the times we went, it was out of order.
I think that was just you.
Okay, then I got to try it, and I just got wet. It was okay, because it's more river rapids style
Mm-hmm.
in Singapore, whereas in the U.S. it's a track ride
Mm-hmm.
on a boat.
So among the listed theme park attractions was Jurassic Park the ride, Canopy Flyer, Dinosauring,
Dinosaur.
Jurassic Park Rapids Adventure, The Flying Dinosaur, Jurassic World the ride, and Velocicoaster.
That's the new one. I've shown you that one,
Mm.
right? Oh, the videos. That Velocicoaster. I think as much as I love this franchise, I don't know if I'd have the heart to ride that damn coaster. But I just keep watching the POV videos and like okay. But it's very cool. It's very cool. But then the main ones like the Jurassic Park, the ride ones, which is like this great little like boat tour thing. And
Mhm.
then I appreciate in the many versions that you can there YouTube is great for watching
Mhm.
recordings of theme park rides. A lot of people
Yes.
taking POV videos. It has been my escape even before the pandemic, but all the more during the
It'll be
pandemic.
a challenge though to find the good ones. Some are nice enough to,
Oh,
that
we're super judgy of this last one
it's
we
like
watched.
it's like you're in the ride, so they're looking around. Others are like, I'm watching the ride, but we're looking at the
I'm being
sides.
professional. I'm only going to face forward. I'm in the front
And then
row.
worse, you have those who do move around, but then they forget they have the camera sometimes.
Yeah, they miss some of the action.
Or they'll put it down as they're looking at things.
But the ride had some great great moments from the movie. Like there is a scene where in different versions of the ride where a jeep is like from on high and then falls down to the ground, just like in the movie. And
Mm.
like, oh, that's a great little thing. There's always the varying degree of do you accept this pop out velociraptor from the ceiling
Mhm.
because it's literally this fixed animatronic who just slides forward.
But then you have the excellent use of um, technology and graphics with real world effects. So like now you'll have the thing swimming, and then as it splashes away, real
Oh,
water
that's in the
splashes
new
out.
Jurassic World ride. Ah, very good. I mean, I'm very judgy of theme park rides that use a lot of screens because like,
Mhm.
really, you're
Just
gonna
look at
make me watch a
screens.
movie? Oh, but that was so well done. That was so well done. And then, guys, if you want a treat, look up the Jurassic World ride in Shanghai. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so good. It's
Mhm.
so good. It makes me want to go to China, and I never thought I'd say that in a post-pandemic world. But it's such a good ride because it's again good blending of screens
Mhm.
and animatronics and live action
Mhm.
stuff and dinosaurs chasing the ride vehicle. I cannot get over that. How can you make a consistent ride that has to deal with like hundreds upon hundreds of riders per day and multiple vehicles, and yet the dinosaur will chase you every time? Oh my god! Oh my god!
And it looks like it's chasing you. It doesn't look like just a head floating.
Yes. Watch it. I can share a link later. So good, so good.
Beyond just the amusement or theme park attractions, there have been toys as well.
I never got any of the toys. I'm a little frustrated.
I never.
I'll get my thing though.
I remember looking at some, but I never really opted to purchase any. Um, beyond actually beyond just the Jurassic Park toys, dinosaur toys in general. Were you ever someone who really collected dinosaur toys?
Not really, but then now we have this
So
one.
so we
what
have
can
this
do?
one which
It's from your
we got-
nephew's birthday.
yes, when Luke had his birthday, part of the giveaway was dinosaurs because he loved dinosaurs. Yay. But then yes, you have that one.
And it's gonna break my heart to take them out of the box because this display is only like the Jeep here in the front is a cardboard render on the side, but it's a Transformers product. So the T-Rex transforms into a robot, and then the Jeep transforms to a robot. So, and then but I was tempted, like I kind of wanted to because okay, I'm a purist. Like I've always been mainly collecting robots all my
Mhm.
life, and then at most I can accept cool vehicles. So, but Jurassic Park does not fit that mold.
Mhm.
I could get Dino Riders because they had the mounts, and then they become like cool vehicles.
Mhm.
And then, but then the Jurassic Park toys, if I remember correctly, had dino damage. They had like bits of flesh that could pop off to show that the dinosaurs had hurt each other.
Mhm.
Strangest toy gimmick ever, and that made me want some. But
I
I
was
never got it.
tempted to get the Lego
Ooh, the
Jurassic
Lego
Park
stuff.
because they look pretty awesome, and the Lego dinosaurs,
The kiddie ones.
yeah, the kiddie ones were really well done.
Alan.
Look, and there's the tiny one, which is the
Yeah, the baby. And they made it one peg small. Okay. Okay. I see you have a bunch of trivia. You want to go over trivia for Jurassic Park before we go to Jurassic World?
so other trivia from some blog sites that I found. Wait, let me just load that other one.
Dinosaur.
Okay, so some of the secrets that you did not possibly know. Um, so as mentioned, the Jeep attack scene happened by accident when it breaks the glass and the kids are holding it. Jeff Goldblum almost missed out on his legendary role. Um, so his portrayal might have not have happened because Jim Carrey was the front runner. for
And
the
I
role.
get it because it was the 90s. Jim Carrey was like a
Mhm.
rising star. Although I could only take him in small doses.
Yeah, and I can't imagine Jim Carrey saying "Life finds a way."
Right? Right? The
Um,
logo.
so the logo, we discussed it. Chip Kidd was the one who designed it. So here, he was particularly taken by the T-Rex skeleton that he found inside the book he purchased from the New York Museum of Natural History. So he ended up using that as the basis of
Yeah,
his
because
design.
that T-Rex thing, that skeleton has been that was on the original novel.
Mhm.
But it just
Plus,
dominated the novel.
he worked on
Yeah.
the front cover.
And then it didn't have the curve shape we
Yeah.
now as this shape, and then it didn't have the font, but it just had that in a plainer font Jurassic Park, and then that.
So they
but
bought
it was the
they
same
bought
thing.
that design from the book cover designer, and then
Mm.
they made it the logo. There's a reason behind Malcolm and Hammond's monochrome clothing.
Oh, black and white.
It was supposed to show that they're opposing sides.
Okay.
Fat paycheck there. Computer program ahead of its time.
Yes.
So when Lex performs the reboot of the computer system's Unix interface, the program on the monitor may look fake, but it's actually a real-life 3D browser that was made by now defunct manufacturer Silicon Graphics, named Fusion or FSN. It was ahead of its time, but it was used to show how advanced technology was. So
Again, at the time, it's like a 3D environment, a navigation environment like that. Yes, it'll take that long to render.
as mentioned, many of the dinosaurs were animatronics and not just CG. Real rain was used to the point that even in the shoots, the island would be devastated by hurricanes and stuff, which affected the shoots. Mr. DNA almost never saw the light of day.
It was a
It started
joke,
out as a
apparently.
joke between him and Spielberg. Toilet humor is no joke for Laura Dern. Most kids see her as the girl who puts her hand in dinosaur poo. Many kids still refuse to shake her hand, remembering that scene. Feathers were still no go in most of the evident movies, but well, this new one might just break that.
But hey, CGI.
The Velociraptor having an Easter egg moment because when it tries to escape when the cast tries to escape through the ducts, it stands at one moment and then the screen casts on it, so it shows the DNA code at the top of it. Yeah, so those were the trivia there. In the movie, some others include why did it go there?
It's trying to log you into
Yeah.
IMDb.
So the roar is a combination of dog, penguin, tiger, alligator, and elephant sound.
for the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
The guest's encounter with the sick T-Rock, the Triceratops, ends without any clear explanation on why it's sick. The novel, however, gives the explanation.
Yeah, because it was they found stones.
They lack the suitable teeth for grinding food, so they would swallow rocks to use them as gizzard stones. But then the rocks would become too smooth to be useful, so they'd have to regurgitate them, and this and that.
Yeah, I remember that explanation. Because she was really using her knowledge of birds and stuff. Okay.
Why was the novel having the word Jurassic in the title when the dinosaurs are from the Cretaceous period? Crichton replied it never occurred to him and admitted it was just the best looking design.
That's how it is. That's how it is. But yes, the dinosaurs from the wrong era.
The audition consisted of the cast screaming wildly. Steven Spielberg wanted to see how they would show fear.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that's a lot of this were stuff we already brought up.
Okay. Okay. So, we rush forward now. Then Jurassic World becomes this weird revival of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to feel about it, but then I'm always on board for dinosaurs. And if we survive Jurassic Park 3, we can survive one more. But it turned out to be a pretty good movie. I feel. It was a good it wasn't quite a reboot. It's still built on the existing franchise.
Yes.
But it like pushed like, hey, what if Jurassic Park becomes successful? What if we fast forward and there's a theme park already and it's open to guests and stuff? Of course, bad things still happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was a great because we all wanted to see what would Jurassic Park be like if it were actually operational.
Now there is something that came out before Jurassic World.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, not before, but one of the things that came out because you have the trilogy, so you have Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom,
And then Dominion.
and then
coming
Jurassic
out.
World Dominion that's coming out. But then there was the short film Battle at Big Rock, and there was the Dominion prologue. So the prologue we've seen. 'cause
It's
it was
been released.
online.
Yes.
But Battle at Big Rock is a live action short film. It was released in 2019. It was an 8-minute film. And it's set 1 year after the events of Fallen Kingdom. A family goes camping at Big Rock National Park. And
Fake.
of course,
I mean, no such park. Yes.
yeah, and of course they encounter something. So with World, the idea is, of course, we can't contain them. The dinosaurs are out there, and they're now there's no denying they have to be part of our lives. One can say that should have been the premise of the very first movie.
Or at least it should have been the premise of the third. Like after Jurassic, the Lost World, where T-Rex made it to San
Yeah, exactly.
Francisco.
So
We should have seen
should
more
have
of
been an
that.
earlier story.
Yeah, yeah.
But since it's coming back after such a long period of time, they needed to sort of reset the story, which is why the first movie feels in many ways like an echo of the first Jurassic Park movie. We're in
The first Jurassic World movie.
yeah, it's a theme park again. Something again happens because they underestimated the dinosaurs, and then the dinosaurs break free. So they had to sort of set that preamble again in order for the Jurassic World franchise to make sense. I felt that while I did enjoy it, the volcano was not necessary.
Well, did it already erupt in one?
In the
or was
second
it
movie.
in second? Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but I felt
the,
for-
the,
for-
the calamitous events.
for the build up of the park having the trouble, that was great. In the second movie, Now we're having more trouble because many of these are in the wild. That was still good. But then to have a volcano happen in that same moment, I kind of was like, really?
And the no no the premise of the second world movie was like they were trying to keep people away from the island, but
Mhm.
then you have these big game hunters who finally
Yes.
who get there, and then but then it's also an unstable island because the volcano is going to blow.
And then you sort of imply with that the dinosaurs are forced to spread out, but it doesn't really make that much sense because not all of them can swim. So
Mm.
it kind of makes you wonder how that's supposed to make sense. So there's definitely less tighter writing, but in many ways I don't mind.
It was still pretty okay, and then it was like the rebuilding the relationship with Blue the Velociraptor, because Blue is a character.
And then I love that the T Rex, you recognize it's the same T Rex from the scars.
Oh yes,
That was a very
oh
nice touch.
yes. Because and then as much as they all are the same computer model, but isn't it funny how it's we're so influenced that that is the shape of a T Rex? It's like that.
Mhm.
There's a T Rex face we have gotten used to
And
because of
that's
this
how it's going
franchise.
to be until the next scientific discovery that changes things. Because
Maybe
prior to Jurassic Park's popularity,
T Rex.
the T Rex was known to drag its tail,
Mm.
was known to stand fully upright like a person in a costume,
Yeah, yeah,
hence Barney. But then it was with the later studies and findings, as well as the Jurassic Park's team's struggles to create a 3D model that would walk properly, they started to realize that the anatomy suggested that the tail isn't dragged but lifted,
yeah.
and
Yep.
all this and that.
And then it's like he's like perpetually angled forward for
Mhm.
momentum, which makes sense because then his center of gravity would be a bit more forward, and that helps him go. And good job, good job. So yeah, so there's the trailer for the new Jurassic World Dominion movie that's come out, and obviously it's a big nostalgia play
Mhm.
because they're bringing back our big three from the
Yes.
first movie. So we have Alan Grant, Eli Sattler, and Ian Malcolm,
Mhm.
and Laura Dern has decided to still wear the similar outfit in that
Mhm.
trailer, which everybody's going crazy over.
Yes.
And then like I mean I don't know how sensible the premise is going to be. It looks like it's going to be bonkers because there's dinosaurs everywhere,
Mhm.
but at the same time it's like we have our new team with like Chris Pratt and what's her name working together with the old team, and like oh wow, okay, certainly with all these named characters together we can deal with the dinosaurs.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not sure if
Dinosaur.
they'll have a coherent goal in
Mm.
the movie. Because if it's just survival, which I wouldn't be necessarily against, it suddenly becomes more like a zombie film. Wherein there's no major overall plot. It's just
Survive.
whatever they're gonna do, it's because dinosaurs are gonna try to eat them.
But I feel like it's going to be some sort of a containment, like, or there's going to be a MacGuffin style goal because they have to bring the dinosaurs back under control.
Or
Or,
will
I don't
they
know.
find something that will click the genetic marker and
Caca, caca.
suddenly all the males die and it's now Blue the last dinosaur or something.
I think what we have to acknowledge though is that this franchise has given an amazing amount of work to BD Wong, right?
Mhm.
That's BD Wong, right? Who's been the scientist forever.
I'm
Was
not
that
sure.
him? Oh, now I'm like confused. Okay, okay. I will double check casting.
I'm not sure if he's in this one in Dominion.
No, I think yeah, I saw him in the
Or
thing.
was he just recorded? Was it just footage?
Possibly say yeah, there
Oh no,
was.
he's here. He's here, reprising his role. Yes.
See, BD Wong forever, man. He is the C3PO of the Jurassic Park franchise. Good job, BD Wong. Just because you get to play an Asian scientist nerd
Mhm.
thing. I yeah. Okay.
Do you think this movie is attempting to create a third franchise? Meaning, sorry, let me define that better. Will there be a handoff?
No, I think this thing needs to wrap up and then we wait for a big reboot. But that's me as a sensible
Mhm.
movie watching person. Because if it's a handoff, who are they handing it to?
Well, that's what I was wondering about.
Because both groups now need to end.
Yeah. So, is there any in the cast that looks like younger younger
I don't know, or
Owen
do
Grant
they
or
bring the
younger.
kid? Are we doing the Mummy, where suddenly we have to believe that Brendan Fraser is really old and that that adult man is his child? I don't know lah. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
I'm still kind of, I'm not looking into it too deeply. I'm still kind of hoping that the kids get to come back too. Um, but then again, like scarred for life, would they really want to come back to any of these dinosaur
So we do
experiences?
have three names, and they seem to generally be younger actors.
Mm,
So that might be the handoff.
maybe.
Maybe they'll reveal their son of this or like that or that, or maybe they're not related, but they become the. It's up to you now.
Okay, so now it's time to talk about Dino Crisis.
Okay. The only reason I want to bring up Dino Crisis is, do you remember distinctly Jurassic Park video games?
Not really.
I know there were a
There were some
few.
theme parky ones that have all been like mixed bag, except for the more recent Jurassic Park Evolution games. And then I forget if there were like side scrollers.
So there were a bunch of video games, but I feel like none of them really clicked.
Yeah, it was clearly like serial numbers scraped off of other games, and then we do this game.
So one of the earliest ones was by Ocean Software, which developed a number of the games way back in the Nintendo system and the Game Boy. They had overhead perspectives, and they loosely followed the events of the story of the films. It was in Sega that a point-and-click adventure
Sega.
then existed. Um, but of course, this was Sega, so not that many people played it. And then later on,
Whoa,
you
judgy
started to
of the
have
Genesis.
yeah, there was the side-scrolling action thing by Ocean as well, and the like. So I feel like Jurassic Park never really found its mark when it came to video games, compared to Dino Crisis, for example. Out of nowhere, Japan comes up with
A survival horror with dinosaurs.
Resident Evil is awesome, but what
Let's
if we make it
let's
dinosaurs
make it
instead?
dinosaur. Mina
And
played. My sister played the
and
game.
it was an awesome game. It had one point wherein you do this and then you get surprised and the T Rex is now chasing you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It
and
had dinosaur
yeah.
jump scares. I remember.
And the funny thing was that connected you with the movie more because that's what the movie made you feel like.
Yes.
So I feel sad that the other Jurassic Park games didn't quite capture things the way that Dino Crisis did. And then I think more recently we both experienced a few recent Jurassic Park mobile games, which
Hmm.
tried to go for the park building aspect.
They were kind of cute, but then like the problem with anything tagged Jurassic Park as a video game, even if you're running the park, is that the condition is the dinosaurs have to get out and make a mess.
Mhm.
Which is like even in Dinosaur Island, the board game, that's the thing. The dinosaurs are going to make problems because that's how dinosaurs are. So yeah, the mobile games were like that. The Jurassic Park Evolution, which is essentially a similar engine as what we've seen, where things like Planet Coaster
Mhm.
and Planet Zoo. So with Planet Zoo with dinosaurs, it's like the same people, and it's okay, but they had to tack on this weird mechanic of you need to go hunting for DNA and then hunting for fossils, and then they have to translate that into making a dinosaur. And then the dinosaur breathing is such a big element because they come out of a lab thing, almost like structures in Command and Conquer, like
Mhm.
a building complete, and then there's your dinosaur coming out of the hangar doors. It's a little convoluted, but it was quite fun.
And then there were the Lego.
Okay, Lego, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, awesome, awesome.
Lego has been scoring very high marks in translating the franchises they've been allowed to create games for, whether it's the Avengers, Indiana Jones, Star Wars.
And that first excuse me, that first Jurassic World Lego game.
Mhm.
What happens? You arrive at the island, and then if you turn one way, you play the original Jurassic Park trilogy. Then if you turn the other way, you play Jurassic World. It's like I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. And then they also made it to Lego Dimensions, so I do have Blue the Velociraptor as a
Mhm.
Lego figure because of that game. Thank you very much.
So board games, there have been a bunch of board games. What I can cite is the more recent one, which is Jurassic Park Danger, which have you trying to hide from a bunch of dinosaurs as you move around.
Mm.
And then there's the influence of Jurassic Park felt in the Unmatched game series, where there are dinosaur packs
Oh,
as well.
that one.
Because
Yeah,
Unmatched
yeah.
allows you to pit one character type from other character types and a one-on-one player battle. And
Yes, yes.
there are Velociraptor packs for that as well.
Wow.
Um,
And there's like some new ones coming out, right? Or something like that. I forget. Or am I mistaken with the last franchise we talked about? And then I think that was He-Man because they're like, oh, they're He-Man games.
He-Man
coming out.
has been very active. Why am I going here? For Jurassic Park. Let me just see because there is a new movie coming
Part
out, so
2.
maybe there are new things coming out.
Oh, so 2020 there was that's unmatched
Yeah.
InGen versus Raptors. Okay.
So Unmatched, there's still more coming out. Dr. Sattler versus the T-Rex for Unmatched.
Oh wow.
There's the Funko strategy game that's based on Jurassic Park. There's Jurassic Park Dinosaur Escape card game.
1992.
Yeah,
So it's still Dinosaur Island, guys,
yeah.
which is a great serial numbers filed off Jurassic Park game.
Others would swear by Tiny Epic Dinosaurs to be a good dinosaur game as well. We didn't check it out.
It's hard, man. When you played Dinosaur Island,
Mm,
I cannot imagine any other game capturing that feel as much. And then and we love the Tiny Epic games. They're quaint.
mm.
Although like diminishing returns. I feel like they really peaked with Quest. Zombies was like okay, but not as great. And then the mechs was
The mechs was sad. I really wanted to like the mechs.
I wanted to like the mechs.
but I
I
was
love
struggling.
robots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
okay.
struggling to enjoy.
Which
the
is why
mechs.
we haven't rushed to get Tiny Epic
Yeah.
Dinosaurs.
Even the other one, which was so our jam, which was the one that had the grid system and you fight each other out.
That's still mechs.
No. The one that was like the one was like Final Fantasy Tactics. It had elevation. They flip over the boxes and there was underground caves and stuff.
What was this?
Tactics, Tiny Epic Tactics, I think, or something like that.
Oh yeah, we didn't get it. We didn't
Yeah.
get it. Tiny Epic.
But
Tactics.
there was that we were burned already by zombies and mechs. Do we trust them and buy this? So we didn't.
Ha! Mitch says Animal upon Animal Dino Edition.
I'd like that.
I think that would count.
No, you think what I would like to see them do? Which-
Tomo, the stacking games.
No.
Ugh. What?
Um, Happy Salmon,
Dinosaur
Jurassic
Edition.
Park edition. So you have T-Rex and T-Rex, you have
Dilopho-
Velociraptor,
Dilophosaurus.
Dilophosaurus, and then T-Rex, and then Velociraptor. I don't know, but it would be fun to have those cards and you look at each other, and then occasionally you'll be a dinosaur and you're like, "Oh, Grant, I shoot you," or something like that. But yeah,
Okay.
I would like to see
Okay.
Happy Salmon.
Okay, we put the
Jurassic
idea
Park.
out there. Happy Salmon crossover with Jurassic Park. You take the idea, make the game for us. Thank you.
Yeah, but other than that, role playing games there aren't that many. I don't think there has been really a Jurassic Park role playing game.
Oh my god, Mitch has the question of what's the cartoon that has a dinosaur that traveled in the future? That's Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more.
So they're really lovers.
Denver, the last dinosaur. Show me a world I never saw before.
So they're kids, Barney.
Hey, he was cooler. He like wore a jacket and shades and he could play a guitar.
And it was a puffy jacket.
Yeah, I
right?
know, right? It was like
No.
a sports jacket thing.
Those 90s puffy jackets.
Good job, Denver.
Not like the useless ones in K-dramas that you keep complaining about.
It's a really stupid like cardigan thing. Like, what is it?
It traps air. That's how it keeps it warm. Okay, so
That's not how jackets work. And that material is so thin and sheer. It's like that traps nothing.
it traps
It
air.
barely traps his feelings.
So, given all that, given the upcoming movie, I wouldn't be against a Jurassic World inspired TV series.
Oh, sorry, isn't there one?
I'm not aware.
There is a Camp Cretaceous, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't watched it. So yeah, there is Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. That's been an ongoing
Hmm.
thing. It has 4 seasons.
Oh wow.
It's a Netflix series. Um,
Okay, I was not aware that there was one.
it takes place within the Jurassic World universe.
And then what's it about?
Um, so after winning a video game, dinosaur fanatic Darius Bowman gets to visit Camp Cretaceous, an exclusive adventure dinosaur camp on Isla Neblar. Once there, he meets 5 other teenagers who are also chosen for a once in a lifetime experience. But the dinosaurs break free from their habitats, and now they're stranded without any help and must venture across the island in the hopes of finding a way out.
And they've been trapped for 4 seasons.
It's a kiddie adventure thing. I don't know, but they're about. I mean, they're not kids. They're kind of teeny, but
I wouldn't mind
but
watching this.
yeah, okay. I'll cycle it into our viewing. It's just like one. I keep confusing the Land Before Time soundtrack with Jurassic Park.
That's a very
That's
scary
a
thing to
that's
confuse.
they're both emotional, but very different emotions.
But Littlefoot's mom. That
That
was tough.
forever.
That was tough. That was tough. I'm surprised they did not echo that in the Jurassic Park movie.
You have to because it had a very different tone. You want to talk like tree stars, Sarah.
And Ducky.
Ducky, Spike,
Mhm.
and those classic Pizza Hut puppets from The Land Before Time. Those were the best. Okay.
Oh, the worst though were those Jurassic Park dinosaur puppets, where you had the head and then you had the feet.
Oh, and basically teaching kids to make the bad finger on the back end.
Those were weird.
And anything that makes you like a horse, it's like very difficult.
Anyway, so there was a TV. There is a TV series, so that silences me. Do you have any thoughts, or do you want it to wrap up? Do you want them to come up with something new?
I kind of wanted to wrap up because okay, and I mean, Michael Crichton's influence on the thing died out starting with the third movie,
Mm-hmm.
and then literally the guy's dead.
Mhm.
So then it's like it's really become just this movie studio franchise.
But do you think there
off the
should be a
rails.
reboot where they're all feathered?
I don't know. I'll leave that to like YouTube video editors.
'Cause-
It's like people who put lightsabers and everything.
Because wouldn't it also make it weird? Because we spliced frog DNA into these birds.
Close enough. But hey, in these last few, BD Wong's been mixing everything together. It's like keep mixing dinosaurs, make them bigger and more dangerous, give them camouflage. Good job, BD Wong scientist.
I'm just happy that if there's anything, despite how bad the other movies were compared to the first, the dinosaurs always still look cool.
That's true.
We've never
You question the story.
we,
You
we
question
never
the acting.
we never find ourselves watching the movie and go, oh, this feels like the Matrix,
No,
and how the later movies didn't have just as good effects.
the dinosaurs stay awesome.
Yeah.
That's clearly where the budget
So-
remains. Like there's a percentage of money that must stay with dinosaurs.
And there's a percentage that still uses the animatronics. And I'd
Mm.
like to believe we've gotten to the point we can't even tell anymore when animatronics are used. Maybe none of them are used anymore, but I still have a feeling
There's still
are.
like probably some hands and stuff.
Because there's no denying CG always struggles with showing weight.
Mm.
And for dinosaurs, you need that weight. That's why Avatar, as good as the CG is in Avatar, the blue-skinned Avatar and not the Airbender one, it's still
Both are challenging.
You still know it's fake, right?
Yeah.
It's brilliant CG effects, beautifully crafted creatures.
Although I do want to go to the Avatar experience in Disney World because then suddenly those blue things look very real now. Some of the best animatronics are on. I can share a video again later. The rag with the Navi.
But I guess that's it.
I'm all about
That
theme
is
parks.
that is our episode on the whole Jurassic Park franchise.
Woo!
Will we eventually
Ooh.
feature each movie as episodes?
I don't know. It's a bit much, especially because I don't want to get forced to talk about 3. Alan. We might. I think at the very least, we might talk about the new Dominion movie once we get a chance to watch it. I don't know when. We are the kind of people that even though we've gone out a few times this pandemic, we have not gone to theaters. We have not watched the movie in a theater.
Do
It
you think?
kind of breaks me up.
Do you think they'll try to up the volcano?
What, the world's gonna break in two, and
An
then
earthquake.
and then it's an egg for a celestial.
Or they're being chased and this and that, and then something happens. Then tidal wave.
The earth rips open, and then you see Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. Okay, yeah. So I'm kind of torn though, because like West Side Stories in theaters now,
Mhm.
and I do want to see that, but then like, but do I want to do I want to risk the theater? So it's funny. We haven't seen Spider Man. We haven't seen the Spider Man movie. So we'll see when by the time Jurassic World Dominion comes out. I don't know how we're gonna watch it.
But the numbers are going down, thankfully.
Yep.
The vaccine works, people. Please
Yay.
get vaccinated.
Please get vaccinated. Stop
So,
being not
No,
vaccinated.
it doesn't make you immune, but if you do catch anything, it's more manageable, so you don't make it worse for the doctors. So please get vaccinated.
And that's our show. Rawr! Okay, so if you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill out the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. You can follow us on Twitter, Altobi No Shade, RG Suniko.
You could also check out our blog, badaypray.com, for all the previous episode and stuff about us. And to that person who greeted us when we were out one time and said, "You're the guys with the podcast. Thank you for recognizing us."
Yeah, we are the guys with the podcast. Thanks for saying so while we were in queue somewhere. And like that was like
That was totally unexpected, but it felt nice.
always pleasant. Thank you for remembering that we do
I
this
think
weird
I think
thing.
her name was Honey. So thank
Oh,
you,
yes,
Honey.
yes, we were not drunk yet. So I'm pretty sure her name was Honey. Okay. Yeah. And please continue the conversation in the comments below. Let us know more about what you love or hate about this franchise and where do you think it should go. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
and this is Baduy Pride.
Sorry.
Rawr!
For some reason, my mind is saying it in the facing Jurassic Park.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I was about to say, and this is Baduy
Okay,
Thanks for
wow,
watching.
you hit yourself. Okay, bye everyone.